Hey, how you guys doing? It's producer from Brothers Comics. Welcome to the Marvel Hacks. This is our X-Men 97 recap, y'all. It's episode 6, Danger.exe. I'm not a computer nerd. I don't really know what that means, but we'll get into the episode in a little bit. On the line is Brother Beaver. Say what's happening, bro.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
We're recording on an early Sunday morning. Obviously the episode aired on Wednesday morning. But in light of that, a lot of things have happened. And then in the group chat the other day, and if you're not familiar with this, in our group chat, we have the people from Brothers Comics in there. And we talk about obviously nerdy stuff from time to time. And I had made a post to the point of like, I remember years ago, and it ain't that long ago, but 7-10 years ago during San Diego Comic-Con, which is going on this weekend, staying up late, waiting for leaks to drop onto YouTube, like just, honestly, they're not being there, just waiting for any tidbit of information, whether through Twitter or anything, just to get a nibble of something that was going to happen. And so it might have been, I don't know, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever I sent y'all that text, that I was like, oh, San Diego Comic-Con is this weekend. So I didn't even know. I mean, so where do you feel like the non-anticipation has come from? Just general apathy? Age?
I mean, they
What is
pulled everything. They pulled everything that we were interested in out into their own. Like, there's with the Star Wars experience or Marvel stuff. Like, they pulled a lot of stuff out of Comic-Con, did they not?
Yeah.
And then they're really like another B-list show. If you did get an announcement, like there just has either because they're not present or because there wasn't a lot of news. I mean, it was no longer sort of the single destination for this kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't even know what had been left there.
Yeah, Disney had subbed their, they sunk their own ship by doing what D23, which was their own thing, which allowed them to announce all of the Marvel, the Star Wars, and every other property that they control. And they weren't even going. They were, minorly present at Comic-Con for a few years and not even doing, Hall H, which is the big, place where you get all of that stuff. And so I didn't even, honestly, I really didn't even know Comic-Con was this weekend. And obviously I follow a lot of freaking Comic-Con stuff so whatever. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the stuff that's related to X-Men 97 because there was news related to that. But the bigger ones are the things that have come out recently. I wonder if I can do a share screen here. Let's see. Pushing my limits here. Let's see. All right. So let's do this one first. All right. Can you see that? It's a Margaritaville ad?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's not what we wanted to see. Let's see. Let me scroll up. Maybe not. Come on, Giovanni. So the first one, Ryan Gosling was attached to, he's going to be Ghost Rider. This had been rumored for a while if you're into the, Reddit subworld. So yay, Ryan Gosling, you are a bigger Ghost Rider fan than me. I think we both more enjoy the aesthetic as opposed to the actual character at this point. But any thoughts on Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider?
Yeah, I distinctly remember watching the movie, be like, I think I like the drawing of Ghost Rider more so than the actual character. I mean, so the obvious question, and I don't know if this was answered, is this Johnny Blaze, Danny Ketch, or somebody else? Like, I feel like if you start with Johnny Blaze as the Daredevil Carney, it's like it maybe doesn't make sense in the in the current continuity, but who knows? I mean, like it was lacking. Not that Nick Cage didn't care about the show, care about the character or anything, but it was lacking, I think, on the writing side, and also like you want to talk about a bad rogues gallery. So
well, the weird crossover is that his real life wife was in those movies, or at least one of those movies. That's kind of weird. So I just kind of thought about that. I know people kind of shit on him or whatever for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not lining up to go see a Ryan Gosling movie in any way, shape, or form. But the movies that I've seen him in, I don't really hate him. I mean, I think he's a really good actor. I just, I think it's just kind of is in vogue to shit on him. I think a little bit, and which is fine. But I'm not one of those people. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm sure he'll do yeoman's work in it, and it'll be
Yeah.
fine enough. But
No, I mean,
whatever.
even though some people hate that dude, like if you think Ryan Reynolds is
Mm,
likable,
yeah,
I mean, I think Ryan Gosling has that kind of likability, but
yeah,
and he actually has talent.
yeah,
So
yeah. He can actually play different characters and not one
yeah,
version of the same
yeah,
character. Yeah, cool. The other news coming out of there, or one of the other ones, is they announced T'Challa the second, British actor. I forgot his name here. Don Johnson? No.
David Johnson, I
David
believe.
Johnson. There we go. Crockett. No, David Johnson is going to play T'Challa 2. And if you didn't see Black Panther because you're one of those, or Black Panther 2 because you're one of those hashtag recast T'Challa people, first off, fuck you. Second off,
Or if you started watching Wakanda Forever and it's not over yet, and you
yeah,
haven't got to the
you got
pre-trailer,
into
the
the yeah.
post trailer sequence, then just sorry for the spoiler, but in several hours, when
Yeah.
several days or hours when the movie ends, stay through
Uh,
the credits if you can.
oh my gosh, yeah. So yeah, and so he is the son of T'Challa, and was it Nakia?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to be the new Black Panther. They announced the Black Panther movie for December, I think, of 28. With bringing back the entire cast for that. I guess I'll go first on this because I'm black. Oh, all right. Like I don't know who this person is. And to be fair, we only knew who Chadwick was because he was taking every autobiographical black person movie leading up to that point. So whatever he's done, okay, bet. The character is more not more important, but the character of the Black Panther is more important than the actor who's playing it for the most part. So yay! But I mean, I'm not jumping up and down or doing backflips, or whatever. Denzel's going to be in the movie. That's probably the biggest whatever about the whole thing is that in an unnamed role at this point, Denzel Washington is going to be in a Marvel movie. Bet
uh,
that's cool.
and I guess even though it's not February, I'll go second from the
There
back
you
of the
go.
bus and offer my opinion. Wasn't he in Alien Romulus and The Long Walk? Is that where I know this cat from?
First off, I ain't never watched none of that shit. That's scary movies. Yeah, I ain't watching no scary movie. Come on, son. I ain't seen Alien since the one we
Yes,
referenced last
I'm
week.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, he was in those movies. So I enjoyed it, Alien Romulus and him in it. I did not see The Long Walk. Honestly, the thing that hits me is maybe this makes me a bad person, but I was watching the Doomsday trailer. I'm like, oh shit, Shuri.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not trying to take money off people's wallet or food off
Yeah.
their plate, but I'm looking forward to a non-Shuri Black Panther world.
Yeah, and I just had the same conversation with my son. Whatever you feel about Shuri, Leticia Wright is a very problematic
Yeah.
person, as a person, not just whatever. So if she meets her in Doomsday, I won't be all that upset about it. But it is what it is. Yeah. So, but I mean, it's fine. Like I said, people wanted them to recast after he passed. Coogler made a decision to not do that, which was fine. Like the furor over that reached probably where we are with the Odyssey at this point, just for different reasons. And it really didn't make any sense there. And it certainly doesn't make any sense now with
Yeah.
this situation, different podcast. But yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I can't get excited about anything anymore because there's just been such a malaise and up and downness of the things that have come out. So I don't, you don't want to get yourself excited about anything because it could be absolutely crap. And I just don't want to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I
So,
agree.
all right. You referenced it there. And we'll go back to the main screen here. You referenced it there. The Avengers Doomsday trailer dropped as well. I don't know, it's like Tuesday or Wednesday morning, and tickets on sale at the time, as soon as the trailer was over. Well, you say that, and I'm going to see Spider-Man on Thursday, and my kids have been like, hey, we're going to go see Spider-Man. And they've been telling me for a while. I'm like, oh, yeah. But I was like, man, I just don't feel like dropping all that change on tickets. Like, it's like ridiculously expensive to go to the movies now. And I didn't do it. And then now I'm going to see it on Thursday, like we normally do the day before the release. But I mean, we're not in the greatest of seats, not in mid center. I waited too long on that. But I went to my thing as soon as the trailer was over, and I was like, "Oh, tickets available!" But my local movie theater doesn't have them on sale yet. But there are theaters, within 20 to 30 miles of here that actually have the tickets on sale already. So, I kind of thought about calling you and like live watching that trailer. Whatevs. It's the same. It's the same feeling. It's not that I wasn't excited about seeing it. It's just I can't invest the energy into getting excited about it like I would have 5 to 7 years ago. Thoughts?
I mean, when I watched the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, I'm like, this looks a little kitchen-sinky. Like, we're not going to make another one of these, so let's just put everything in it. But I might be a hypocrite because I don't feel that way when I see Doomsday, just because I know it's going to be the same thing. But the one thing I'll say is like, maybe I'm a Captain America mark, but whenever they do the reveal of there he was, he's been here all the time. I'm like, God damn, give me some Captain America like that. Like in the Infinity War movie when they see him on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah,
he pops out here like, oh shit, yeah.
That's given. I mean, we read those books on here, and if you go back in our archives, this very much feels like that he's probably a Skrull, and we're probably going to get an adaptation from our the animated series show where he's alive, he's just off world, but that dude that Thor meets in that trailer is probably like the evil version of him.
They
or
can't.
Something like
that. The Skrull or the Cosmic Cube version,
Hydra Cap or something.
Okay.
A version of that. Not whatever. It just feels that way. I just said this also to my son before
with that.
I know. I said before my son started recording too. I was like, man, they're trying to soft launch this new X-Men franchise, but all they do is have the old people in there, and it looks great. Like Marsden looks great, like all of that stuff that's in there. But like these people are old. Like you can't run with them. They've been in this long, as long as the other guys have on the MCU side. So
yeah, it looks like my guess would be there's going to be an incursion on the X-Men world, and they all die. And then maybe Gambit comes back later in the movie because they saw him fighting Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So,
again, this is all incursions. This is all leading up to a version of Secret Wars 3. I would imagine we're going to get a version of that in Spider-Man on Thursday too, because rumor has it like they're out of the Peter Parker business after this one because of Tom Holland not wanting to do it. And so we're shifting to Miles Morales, which is perfectly fine. That character has a ridiculous following at this point, and I think it can carry a movie. But yeah, the trailer for Doomsday, I was like, all right, whatever. Secret Wars after that, I'll be perfectly fine with that. I know exactly. I feel what's going to happen. So yeah, cool. All right.
The problem with Miles is like, are they going to make a movie that's better than the Spider-Verse movies?
They do have a very large wall to climb there. Yeah, because which I think one of those is coming out next year too.
It's unfortunate that like I think those X-Men 97, like I think a lot of times the animation is the medium to do this, and it's crazy because like the movies are so much CGI, they're essentially animation, but like you put out a cartoon and it doesn't have the same cachet, it doesn't have the mainstream appeal. Like, but it's so much better of a medium to tell the story. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't watch cartoons. Like
I do.
You're watching also you're watching when you go to the movie theater and you watch this.
I know
you are watching a cartoon.
Yeah,
like this is basically what it is. It just has live act. You're watching.
Did you see live action Lion King? Yeah. Who played the lion? What actor played the lion? Help me out here.
You are watching Roger Rabbit, just a better version of it because it's just a cartoon. So keeping with the X-Men 97 theme, so we did talk about San Diego Comic-Con. We're going to talk about Polaris's confusing ass backstory because good luck with that. Astonishing X-Men across media because that is a basis of the show today or the show last week. Joss Whedon, the alleged harasser, alleged in quotations, but and then we'll recap episode 6. But there was news on X-Men 97 at San Diego Comic-Con. The biggest news out of there is that season 3 is done. It's going to come out next summer. No break between there. You had said that you had read that somewhere before. We were talking about before that they were trying to go every year. Season 4 is already in production as well, so they're trying to churn them out. There is a yin and yang in this situation. Like, man, the quality is really good on these shows. You can tell they took their time. What gets lost in that translation if you're doing them year to year, but we'll deal with it when we have to deal with it. And then they did give a sneak peek of season 3. Did you see that?
I did not.
I pulled it up here. I'm gonna try to share screen again.
Which new Brotherhood is this? Is this?
I must show you.
Force? All right.
Yeah, well, it's the one that you're most familiar with from the cartoon.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I was watching the opening credits. I'm like, yeah, these cats still like Avalanche is right up front. I'm like, I don't know, he's been in this new one.
Yeah. Let me see. Make this bigger. I don't know if I'm gonna pop the sound. I'm pulling it up from the Facebook page. Let me see if the sound will work.
Looks like they got the original animation back together.
Yeah.
Are we sure this isn't like somebody's homemade trailer?
Definitely 1,000%. Yes. And I would be embarrassed to say how many times I've fallen for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, too many times. Yeah. All right, so that's that. I mean, it's fine. What else? Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, the Brotherhood doesn't do anything for me, but I mean, they've been able to tell stories with people and characters that I don't care about that I enjoyed. Hint, this show that we're about to talk about. And it's fine. Yeah, but again, the idea, is it a little weird about year to year? I mean, we've gotten so used to shit not coming out anymore. Now, year to year, I worry about the quality of the animation for sure. The storytelling could probably float it, but the animation might get a little wonky.
I mean, I don't know. They're only going to make 10 episodes. It's not like there's not like this 26 days of, got to get that 3:30 to 4 cartoon every day. So, I feel like if the production company is up and running, they just run it straight through. That might be the best way to do it. But I think I also saw that they're like, well, we might have like 5 or 6 years worth of storytelling, and so then you look at it like, okay, is that like enough? Like if that's like, okay, remember that we had 5 years of cartoons, it did all the stories anybody might care about, some that we don't, and it exists and you can go back to it. Is that cool? I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. I wish they would go like remix the original series and be like, we took we condensed the season 3, 4, and 5 down into like 6 episodes. So
they are mining, and it's going to come up for this recap for this show. They are mining stories, some that we're not necessarily great from the comic books or whatever, but they are just jumping all over the place. I mean, today's story is mixing Quietly and Morrison and Astonishing, which with Joss Whedon's group too. Like it's all over the place. And again, something that you brought up is like, man, we're really running through it really, really fast. It might be good to take your pace, but if you're only doing 10 episodes, maybe there is no time for that. So, all right, let's get into Polaris, who is our big not bad in this particular episode, but I was so confused. I tried a wiki or whatever, but basically she is a bastard from Magneto who slept with her mom and wasn't raised by Magneto, has his same power set, hence the name. Doesn't have any real relationship ever with Magnus. In the comic books a little bit, but he didn't raise her or anything like that. Her debut comes in the original X-Men series, the 1968 one, yes. But if you had a CG copy, almost $10,000. That's a grade 10. Now, I mean, you'd have to be an absolute cornet level of a collector at this point to have that book on a grade at 10. But I mean, do you remember anything? We're going to talk about Polaris's comic book stories, but did I miss anything that you know about Lorna Dane? I didn't know she was a doctor. Anything you know about Dr. Lorna Dane that I missed?
I'm pretty well versed in the modern stories for her. Well, not the modern, the 80s era, like because she was on when she came back as Malice, and when she was on the team, like I think she was on the Outback team. Maybe I'm wrong. Or she was at least around. And then her role in the Muir Island saga. So I'm good on all that. She came in, she and I think Havoc came in right at the tail end of the first run of X-Men before they went reprints and then before it became giant size.
Mhm.
She was in Krakoa, the original, the OG Krakoa,
Yeah.
giant size X-Men 1, and then like quickly disappeared. So um, I'm pretty solid on my Polaris. I think she was introduced by Mesmero in
Yeah.
some scheme, and they have gone back and forth as to is she or is she. I mean, like there's a Maury Povich episode we're waiting
Yeah.
on here. They sort of gone, is she or is she not? Was she
Yeah.
brainwashed to think she was
Yeah.
Magneto? So I think they finally said yes, she definitely is. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you were in touch on it. They did show essentially she had a picture that had like essentially this team, that maybe that's why you picked it, but like the
Yeah.
uniforms and things like that from this
Yeah.
era. So I thought that was good. I have a soft spot. Like you, this is a garbage team like that we're looking at right here, but I have a soft spot for that era. I have a real soft spot for the original X Factor too.
Yeah. I mean, her character essentially is a green-haired Jean Grey
Mm-hmm.
in most instances, and she gets shunned. Look, Magneto's a terrible father, like we've already known that, but we just get to hear more about his terrible fatherness to Wanda and Pietro. A lot of this stuff with Polaris, I mean, it's such on the back end,
Mm-hmm.
so she's never really had like a comic book story, but she's been referenced a lot. You referenced the one that she's like, in when she becomes Malice,
Yeah.
which is like her biggest storyline, where she's not the character. She's obviously taken on the role of Magneto before. She's in that show, The Gifted, which I believe as the main character. I didn't watch that. I know Hutch and Sanji did. I didn't watch it, but I think she's the main
I think
female
your
protagonist, right?
daughter was into that too.
Yeah,
I definitely saw it. Yeah.
yeah,
Big Hutch loves that show.
yeah. Can't win
He's
them all.
always trying to talk about some Gifted.
Exactly. Side brother topic, like him and Female Perspective went to go see that. Like it, whenever it premiered, they had a premiere like at like the Fox Theater in Atlanta, which
For
was
real?
like a big thing. Yeah, they went to the TV premiere at the theater. Yeah, whatever.
That was
What?
the X-Men equivalent of these Morbius and Venom movies. Like,
Yeah,
what if we had an
exactly.
X-Men show without any of the X-Men?
That you
Like,
care about. Mm-hmm.
and that's
Yes.
another one where it pisses me off of like, we're gonna take this character that's basically Sunspot, but call him something completely different. I'm like, just make him the damn character. Like, that's
Yeah,
the one thing I hate about X-Men The Last Stand is like, yeah, we're just here's Callisto. I'm like,
but we're
no,
not gonna
that's
say
not
it.
Callisto. Come
Hey,
on.
yeah. But yeah, she's played a lot of roles. I also put her in there as Iceman's beard. She did do that as well. As a role she played to rave reviews as well. I mean, she's been an X-Men, she's been an X Factor. She does play an important role in the Krakoa era, which clearly this cartoon is building towards. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And she gets, quite the glow up, no pun intended, here in this episode when we get to it, because there are really no Polaris stories that you could have adapted from the comic books. So putting her into this one, based on what you've done so far, was actually pretty well done, I thought. All right.
I wonder if we get anything like they already massacred a bunch of them. I wonder if we get anything like the Mutant Massacre at some
Mm,
point, because that's where the Malice story really comes from. The Marauders, Mister Sinister.
yeah.
We got our big Mister Sinister arc, so he may or may not be back. I don't know.
Yeah. It feels well, but on Krakoa, he has a huge role. So
Hmm.
maybe that's where he comes back as well, as does Apocalypse, but whatever. So yeah, so this week's book, this show's book inspiration is Astonishing X-Men from 2004 to 2008. Before we get into the whole thing, I know I have these books like somewhere over the rainbow. They are somewhere in this house. Joss Whedon, John Cassidy, who was most famous at his point for drawing, I think, Captain America. They're independent of all the other X books at the time. They're like a solo book, like any other X book story that had any effect to these. So any side books, X Factor, X-Men, or Wolverine, like none of that happened. He just told his own particular story. And again, they're probably most famous for bringing Colossus back. Like that was the big thing. And I vaguely remember, because this is 2004, so this is before I had children. I vaguely remember talking or texting to you about this, because we were not big fans of Ord or the Break World.
Hmm.
But he does introduce things like Sword. Like he does some things in there that carry on. These books are after the Grant Morrison era, really immediately thereafter. So, I mean, do you remember anything outside of Colossus being brought back?
No, not really. I got into these late. I know wasn't there like a stop there was a video, well, there was a on Netflix, they had like some version of this, and I'd be like, I
Yes,
should
you are
watch
working.
that.
Yeah,
And
you're
I'd
in
be
the
like,
honors group. It's coming up.
yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I was like, I never watched it, but I was like, I should watch that, and I never put it on. So
Oh,
no, I've read these, I think, after the fact, and I if you had said name where Colossus was brought back, I would not have said Astonishing X-Men, but now that
yeah,
you're saying, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that
yeah,
story,
yeah.
but I can't remember. I know they were in space or some shit when he came
Yeah.
back, but beyond that, I don't know how they brought it back.
Yeah, I mean, I read through, they're done in volumes too. I think that there's 3 or 4
Yeah,
different volumes. This story that's in this book is in volume 2,
yeah,
but the first book was bringing Colossus back. Second one was this thing with Danger. And then I can't remember what the third one was. And, there's huge breaks in between these books. Like there's gaps in there. But yes, this is Joss Whedon's first like real attempt at giving him a comic book to write. And, I might want to get to that here in a second, but we'll talk about him in a bit. But yeah, I mean, these books are really good. I thought they were pretty good at the time. I was reading them back yesterday. I'm like, oh, it's not bad. The Cassidy art is not it's not quietly bad, but it's not great in certain parts either. He's definitely one of those pudding face people too.
Yeah, man, I cannot fuck with the cat beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching him in his uniform on this show. I'm like, they better not turn him into a fucking cat.
Yeah, I kind of was thinking that they were going to do that too. But yeah, so the story,
they've never done anything. Well, did they? I mean, they may be in a flashback. They never did anything with him where he about his initial transformation into Boom.
Oh no, not yet, man. So this comic book arc, issues 7 through 12 of Astonishing X-Men, it's called Danger. The whole arc is called Danger, and essentially, which happens in the show, the Danger Room gained sentient life. Although in the comic book, Danger had, like, Charles knew it was sentient for a while and essentially kept it trapped. Yeah,
that sounds like Charles. That sounds
exactly.
Like Charles.
Exactly. He kept it trapped, and it gained life on its own.
Did he try and fuck it too?
Well, no, but it gave him
not
time.
that we know of.
Yeah, not that we know of. And then and then everybody turns on Charles because like, you essentially caused this. And which he did, and because Charles is a terrible person. Like, I mean, that's basically it. Like, Magneto's a terrible person, but in a different way. Charles is just a terrible person in, like, every way.
Magneto's like, hey, y'all, I was mad, like Nazis and shit, but I'm cool now. I'm can we just can I just hang? Can we do this? Charles is like, I've been pulling the strings for years, son.
Like, you know what? I already got this car halfway parked. I'm not backing out at this point. Yeah, it's just bad. I mean, but the books are okay. Like, I'd be lying if I said they were not good. They were fine. They're fine enough. I mean, especially for that era. It's definitely the era that's starting there's more drawing than words. It's not as bad as it got later on, but man, there's not a whole lot of Whedon words in there.
Well, I think the other thing that this is right in the thick of the start of the era where continuity was an afterthought. And that was, I think, one of the things that ultimately took me out of comics was like, I'm not sure any of this matters. Like, I feel a retcon coming in like 6 weeks. Like, I don't, why would I invest time and energy in this? Because you're shitting on the continuity that I do know, and this is going to get wiped out. So no, I choose not to pay $3.50 for a comic book. So.
One of his reasons, if you believe the wikis, that those books were set outside of the regular continuity, is that he didn't want to be bound to it. So that's how he was
better than all of us. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you ain't trying to read all that, I totally understand. As Brother Reaver's referenced, there is like a stop action comic book version of this that you can see on YouTube. It's like 4 hours long because it encapsulates the entire run of those books, which I can't remember the total number, but it's basically really bad voice acting over the comic book panel by panel. So, like, I watched it a little bit with my daughter the other day, and she was like, "This is really bad," because of the voice acting. the comic book itself, you're like, oh, okay, you can follow the story along, but yeah, it's not great. I don't know if I could pull this YouTube. Will it come up if I do that? I don't think it will. I have to pull the original, but yeah, it's not great. You can go to YouTube.
DRM today.
Yeah, I know, right? I'll put the link in there in the YouTube, but man, it's not great. But you could watch the whole thing, like in the entire comic book, and you'll see literal lifts from the comic that wind up into the cartoon episode this week. But yeah, so if you're not trying to read all that, but let's get to it. So Joss Whedon, I mean, calling him an alleged harasser at this point is not alleged. Terrible person, terrible to the female characters that he was allegedly championing, as he had this big reputation for writing these strong female leads, lightweight racist, allegedly, if you believe, the cyborg dude from Justice League. Just not good. He's a person that actually nobody gets canceled. He kind of sort of got canceled. Like he hasn't had anything happen good for him. I mean, he's not Daily Wire canceled, so that's when you really fucked up.
Yeah, but I know Charisma Carpenter from the Buffy show.
Yeah,
had a terrible experience.
Yeah, and I mean, and even though whoever was Sarah Michelle Gellar when it was going on, like she didn't come out and like shit on him completely.
I mean, I feel like what he did to me with the second Avengers movie.
And Gal Gadot, but Gal Gadot, had problems with him. Jason Momoa had problems, like everybody. But again, mostly the female characters that he was writing for. And a little bit pervy on some of the stuff with down shots and up shots. Although he's a product of the time.
Are there creators that like? I guess J.J. Abrams has not gone down this route, but he's like he got in Star Wars nostalgia remake. Like he hasn't necessarily done much. But Bryan Singer, no. Joss Whedon, no. Like where are we doomed to lose? Oh, Neil Gaiman, he's out. Like
out. Yeah, I have a theory. So. And not us being excluded, but us being excluded. Like people that are really into like comics, wrestling, all other nerdy shit, anime especially now or whatever. These are some socially awkward people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you put socially awkward people in positions of power who have never, especially with women, and put them in positions of power where they have to have a version, any amount of control over those particular people, especially women, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Like Joss Whedon is not striking me as somebody who, was macking the hose when he was in high school. So what he did was write stories about people and women. And then he got famous for doing that. And then now he's in a position where he can tell those women to sit, stand, show your boobs, like all of these things.
You think he might have done some fetishization along the way?
I definitely think that was in his wheelhouse, and it is what it is. So I mean, if y'all enjoy his stuff, I don't know that he's in the J.K. Rowling situation with me where I can't like deal with anything that she does, but it's like you could side eye everything that he's done, and I mean, I love the Avengers movie. I really do. I'll watch it from time to time when it's on FX if I'm scrolling through the thing. But man, like he ain't a good person.
No,
he wrote a good comic book, but he's not a good dude. So, all right, let's get into this damn show. X-Men 97, y'all. Again, adapting this story from Astonishing X-Men. We open with Xavier reliving his moment where Magneto gets killed, and it's in the Danger Room. You don't necessarily know it at first because they replay the scene over, but it's in the Danger Room, and every time he's getting stomped out or almost stomped out or watching Magneto get killed, he runs the simulator again. So he's using it as like some version of therapy for himself. And as he's using that version of therapy, the Danger Room is adapting, because it is supposed to adapt to the person that's in there, to make the challenges more difficult so that they can have an actual challenge that's going to face themselves in the field. I mean, that's basically it. And, Charles is really not sure how long he can he go on without Magnus? That's basically where he is. Like, he doesn't want to not live, but he's just like, how am I going to continue my life without Magnus? So, I mean, it's a, kind of a challenging opening scene there. Something that we don't really see initially from this particular show, but a very emotional thing between Charles and Magnus. And I like the fact that they've built on this relationship strongly across every version of media at this point, from the original X-Men movies to the original cartoon to the First Class group. Like, they really built into this relationship and really put some effort into it. And I think, if anything, that's probably the strongest part about the open. Any thoughts?
No, I mean, as you were talking, I was just sitting here like, I mean, we've said 1,000 times the strength of these stories is the villain. Magneto is really not a villain anymore, but like, I'm trying to think of another. I mean, certainly they've had like bad guys join the Avengers and whatnot, but never like sort of the arch enemy that becomes like your best friend.
Yeah.
I think that's the. I don't know, maybe we're biased, but I think there's some strength to the X-Men Rogue Gallery that is absent in other
Yeah.
comic book lines. So,
1,000%.
yeah.
Yeah. That being said, so the Purifiers, led by Reverend Stryker off screen, or at least in hologram form. They are a religious zealot group. They kind of are like an offshoot of the Friends of Humanity, which were in season 1. And definitely couldn't have put them in the original animated series, because they are from God Loves, Man Kills, a graphic novel that I've never read. I've seen it referenced so many times. I've seen pictures of it. I never actually read it, but that is where they make their debut. And then throughout time, they've just been sprinkled through stories. They hate mutants, basically, and they'll do whatever they can to take down these mutants. Here, they are gathering weapons, vibranium like level weapons, so that's a nice pull to take down mutants. Polaris and X Factor peeps it, and they take them down. Polaris takes them down specifically, even though they don't give up, and then she winds up losing her shit, so to speak, and there's going to be consequences for that. Stryker shows up again in hologram form. If you're a X-Men movie fan, you see Stryker in X2. Actually, now is the best X-Men movie by far, in my opinion. So yeah, Reverend Stryker. Did you read God Loves, Man Kills?
No, I have not.
Okay, that's like, people reference that all the time. I was like, how in the world? Who probably read it? So he's not on the show today, but I kind of got a guess of who actually read it. So Polaris is going to get shit canned for her actions in the field. She's supposed to just take the weapons and go back to, which is clearly a shield helicarrier. Like, I don't know why we're not referencing that. But she didn't do that. They fire back on her. She dumps them all in the ocean, tears the ship apart, and they have to be rescued by the rest of X Factor. I'm going to give you this question here too. Though they do that, she's going to get shit or fired by Val Cooper or whatever, and Havoc does nothing. So the rest of X Factor is just going to be mutes this season, sir?
It would seem like it.
Yeah.
And let me just say, like, this, they got like the GoBot version of the Avengers helicarrier. Like, it's kind of nerdy. So, yeah. So I kept waiting. I think Strong Guy might have had a line. Wolfsbane has said a thing or two. Multiple Man, I don't remember if he has or not.
I don't think he did either.
Yeah, but I think they're probably. I'm not sure how much more X Factor we're gonna get, but the somebody who shouldn't talk anymore is Havoc. Like, he is not a good
teammate, supportive boyfriend, although, allegedly.
Since they're drawing the connection back to his appearance in the first series, like, I think we've yet to reveal that he is Cyclops' brother, right? Like, Jean might have realized it, but she didn't say anything or some shit like that.
Yeah. Like, they shot their powers at each other, and like, hey, what gives? I think is the line
they did that. They did that walk around each other in a circle
Yeah.
like they got beef. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
But yeah, there's that. And yeah, not supportive at all. Polaris leaves the team and she's gonna go to the X Mansion where Xavier has reopened the school once he has come back here. There's this line where she's like, I'm not him. Because Val
Mhm.
Cooper calls out the fact that, they're calling you the new Magneto. And, because why? We got the same power set? Like, that ain't the reason I'm saying this. And, she's like, well, get on the team or not. And she's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Well, you're fired.
Yeah.
And so she leaves and heads back to the mansion. And then once we get back to the mansion, Charles has this group of mutants together that nobody cares about. And this
Mhm.
is the Grant Morrison and Astonishing X-Men era, y'all. Look, I'm not on socials as much as I used to be, but I know some people, younger people. Y'all like Sync and what's that? The dude with the glasses?
Quentin Quire,
Yeah, Quentin
Kid
Quire, like that.
Omega, I
Kid
believe.
Omega, like yeah, it could be Kenny Omega. Like I don't like him. Glob. These are all terrible characters. I don't care what you say. These are
Hmm.
just terrible characters that they like. Well, we need the mutants can't all look pretty. Like I understood that, but they don't necessarily need to have any significant roles in books and comics. And y'all have given them that here. So yeah, danger lurks everywhere. As Charles is making his speech, he says Storm is the new head mistress of the elements, which I love that line from Laura later in the show. And danger lurks everywhere, and you see like the Sentinel come in and rip it off, but it's really just the danger room. Polaris comes home. She's with her old new team. And it's just good natured ribbing at first. Like I watched it the first time, I was like, why is Scott being a dick? But like even in the animation, you can kind of tell he says it with a smirk. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, like it's just being, kind of like fun and games or whatever. And she's come back. I'm not sure why nobody touched her room already. That was kind of weird. She's been gone for a while now, so allegedly. But yeah, that's it. But yeah, basically the danger room is going to do Age of Ultron. This is what that is. It becomes sentient. It knows all their moves, and you're not going to be able to fool it unless do you know double secret probation moves against that. So yeah, any thoughts on Storm, head mistress of the elements?
No, that was good. No, it was. You're right. It's like I. It's interesting to see like they have done a good job with the Storm and Jean Grey relationship, but
Mm-hmm.
like you said, like Polaris is essentially, at least in the comic and the way her power sets is shown, like she is kind of a green Jean Grey, like
Yep.
and to show them all three like uh they have this three-way like friendship and
Mm-hmm.
closeness, which is great. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying anything weird, but it was weird to like just airdrop her into that and be like, oh no, as tight as I was with you, we're
Yeah.
all tight like that. And then to
Yeah.
show like Jean and Polaris like to power set like when we get later into this and they're like side by side fighting, I'm like they're kind of the
Doing the
same,
same
like
thing.
telekinesis and magnetic, yeah, they're kind of the
Yeah.
same.
Doing the same thing here. Yeah.
The other
Look.
thing that I kept noticing, and like they draw her kind of big. Like part of it is her hair is like a foot tall relative
Yeah.
to like her regular body side. Which,
Yeah.
one of the things that happened to her was when she got her power stripped off, she became like she got big and strong, and it was like sort of made people angry around her, which was the conduit for Shadow King to come back into the Muir
Mm-hmm.
Island saga. But I was like, she already kind of big, like she was like looking pretty much everybody in the eye.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know comics are squirrely enough. I don't remember her being drawn as canonically big, but like look at it. I mean, he's hunched
Yeah.
over, but like she's looking down on Beast here.
Well, and I agree about the three-way like friendship between the ladies there. And I was like, well, she obviously has this bond with Beast. Like that would have been a good place to build, like to give Beast a friend that's not a ship that he's trying to fuck.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean? Like Beast needs a friend.
right.
Like you think about the original series, one year he was locked up the entire season. You didn't really like Beast is probably a character that they have not explored much over the course of this time. He hasn't really been given much to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Bishop has
thought
been getting a little bit, but I think Beast has not gotten his glow up yet.
yeah, we referenced Bishop's glow up last week. It did not stop here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like again, they made me actually care about this. So yeah, I miss your daddy is basically the speech Charles gives to her. Like, hey, your dad, you aren't your father, but you might want to rectify your father issues, which is ironic coming from Charles. You may want to rectify your father issues, you know, while you're here at the house. He's like, well, I'm not him. Like, well, I know that, but like getting to know what he was and what he was about is probably going to be better for you moving forward. Which again, as a counselor therapist, like, yeah, this is a real thing. Like, you definitely should probably deal with that particular thing before. She's had this problem where she loses control of her powers. Like, that is why she was originally at the school. She thought she had it under control, but we obviously saw that happen when she was dealing with the purifiers, that she lost the power. So Charles is like, I'm about to dip. We're about to go to Genosha, essentially with Jean, Cyclops, and Beast. Not exactly a power freaking team there, by the way, but whatever. They're going to go to Genosha. They're going to work at the school here. And, you have your two professors, essentially, which are Bishop and Polaris. And then there's like a danger or an alert at the main gate. Like, would have been cool. Would have been like a fake Juggernaut running through, like from Spider-Man and his main friend. But they go in there, and then we see like one of the kids that is the new students is down. It is Wing. There's also Wing in the comic book. And initially, Danger in the comic book takes Wing's like possession of Wing, like the body, before it winds up building its own body. And so they're like, hey, punks, what's going on in here? And Bishop, and Polaris have to fight off this machine. Like, the Danger Room keeps doing these things, assessment protocols, testing people's levels to see where they are, especially for these two, because they haven't been in the Danger Room that much, and Polaris hadn't been there that often. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, like, this is cool. And then they got the young kids out because nobody cares. Like, This is not a story about like Kid Omega or Husk or Sync or like any of these dudes. Like, this is like what we're supposed to be doing. Like, thank you. Like, do not do that. Like, nobody cares. Nobody that's watching this show cares. Well, that's not nobody, but not that many people care. So anyway, Danger Room starts monologuing, and Polaris loses control. She starts calling her out about her father issues, and she shoots like a big thing of energy, and that's what Danger wanted. This is like a lift from the comic book as well. It's just not Polaris. And gains her body form, which is a female version. And she wipes out Danger or wipes out Bishop and Polaris, and she takes one of like the mini Quinjets and heads off to Genosha. The X-Men can't follow because President Kelly has issued a thing where X-Men, I guess they can't leave the United States or do hero activities in the United States. And so Polaris and Bishop head to Genosha. Anything that I missed that you remember?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, I know this one. It flies by pretty quick. I know. I was watching
the moving the plot along portion.
Yeah, and they were like, "This is going by very, very fast," but whatever. But also, like, okay, the X-Men, you can't, I'm gonna put a root on your ass. You can't leave the mansion no more. Who's gonna stop them? X Factor? Because honestly, like, who does the government have under its employ that can stop?
I guess.
I guess. Sentinel plays a big role in the comic book part. All right, so we get those uniforms, brother Beavis.
Yeah. I mean, not a fan, but it mostly not necessarily the design. It's just like I have flashbacks to the art in that era, and but if you look at it, like, other than the obviously the yellow X is a lot bolder. I mean, this is kind of their first movie uniforms, like just the sort of matching with pinstriping highlights, but mostly black uniforms. I mean, this is, from that perspective, I could get with it, but from the Frank Quitely, Grant Morrison era, I can't.
Yeah. I know you've probably put psionic circuit breakers in place. So I was watching X-Men 97, this episode, recapping for the show yesterday. And, if you have Disney Plus or whatever, it's like, oh, you may watch next, or it'll like, roll into the next thing that's in relation to. So it rolled into Dark Phoenix. Oof. And I was like, my wife was on the phone with her mom. I was like, well, she's going to be on the phone for a bit. So I'm going to like just sit here and watch it, because why the hell not? And one, it's fucking terrible. But two, these uniforms are in that movie as well. Like, I didn't remember that either. Like, when Mystique is leading the team, they're blue instead of black. But yeah, like, that was when they go on their mission to stop the scary cloud from coming to Earth, that they are in those uniforms as well. But yeah, it's awful. But Frank Whiteley, bad, awful, 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 awful. And so this era on Genosha where that gets destroyed, that was in the new X-Men era, and then now they're bringing those uniforms into this thing, which is like essentially the Astonishing X-Men era. So I thought that was a decent throwback. Danger arrives on Genosha, and the battle, the comic book battle ensues. I don't know if you noticed this, but like we get it a little bit, but it's always played down. Like the fight music, the da, 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 when they're fighting, it's very low key. And then in this one, it wasn't there at all. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting choice that you made, that you don't play it at all. Maybe because it's more of an emotional scene. I don't really know. But Danger gets there. She attacks. Danger knows all their moves, so they can't do it. They do something with Wolverine's claws and Cyclops, which I thought was kind of dumb. Xavier starts to fight back too. He gets some offense as well, which was kind of shocking. Okay, so again, longtime listeners, what was Professor Xavier fighting as in the Marvel superhero game? Feeble? Is that as low as you could go?
Yeah,
that's as low as you could go, right?
Yeah, he's feeble strength, maybe poor fighting. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, he had his chair to help him out here, and then Bishop and Polaris show up to make the save, and then Danger had been saying this for a while. She's like, survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest, and that's what's happening on this fight here too. And so Polaris has to push her powers to a different level, and she can't access the full powers unless she remembers who her father is. Okay. And Xavier allows her to do that and helps him, kind of heal himself too. You are your father's daughter. And then they get together, and then, the Bishop glow up literally happens here too. Like she pushes her power so much, and he's like, I'll take the runoff, and all the spillage of energy there. And then they defeat Danger, and daddy issues are resolved forever. Yay. Yeah.
I love my dad.
Yeah, hey, dude, I'm like, okay, like this issue is, again, if you listeners to what we do, like this is literal filler. It's a filler episode. Last week was a diversion. This was filler. Like that was a standalone. This is absolute filler because when we get to the last scene here, like everybody knows this is where this is leading to. And now, how many issues of the 10 are you going to devote to the final battle? Last year, they devoted 3. So that would give us one other episode. And then the last 3 episodes should be leading out, into whatever that's going to happen with Apocalypse. Anything in this final battle with these folks?
No, it was sort of keep using your attack powers. Like, big
hit
tornado.
It harder. So hit it harder. So at the end there, after this has happened, Charles makes his decision that the X-Men need to be able to help mutants like across the planet. So we get some new construction in the ruins of Genosha, which is kind of funny and ironic. But they build what's called X Corp. They build that in the ruins of Genosha, and essentially it's the NAACP for mutants. Like when mutants are being persecuted in some other place, since they can't leave the United States, X Corp is going to go out and handle those issues for them. That's that. I remember this from the comic books as well, but it plays a much bigger role in Krakoa. That's the initial thought on Krakoa was like, hey, y'all can get all this stuff and recognize Krakoa. We'll give you these free drugs and can cure Alzheimer's, cancer, and all of these things. And that was done on the business side of the X-Men through the X Corporation. So again, I know exactly where we're going here.
The only time I saw X Corp was, I think they introduced them right before the Phantom X story. And like it was a bunch of B-listers. It was Banshee and a bunch of B-listers, and they went and they all died in the tunnel. They went in the sewers looking for something that turned out to be Phantom X, and they killed a bunch of them. I was like, that's some bullshit.
And that's basically it. So again, I don't know if you noticed. So when they were talking about this, where before Charles is like, like something bad is coming, and those terrible uniforms, by the way, it's like something bad is coming. They're sitting around a table with 12 chairs.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I have more than 12.
Was it? I thought I counted
Yeah,
12. I
I
could be
I think it
wrong.
had more than 12, but I had the same thing. That's the quiet council table. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is where y'all are going. I just don't
yeah,
know how quick you're going to get there. But
yeah.
in the same breath, like it can't be a season 3 thing. Like Krakoa could be a whole fucking season, but at a minimum, at some point, Genosha is going to be. It feels like they're not going to do Krakoa. They're just going to call it on Genosha because
Mhm.
they've established this. But we getting people brought back to life here. I can't imagine that they're not going to do it. I can't. I just can't. But yeah, so that's X Core, and then we get to our not the final scene, not a post credit or anything. We're bringing Gambit back to life. We all knew this was going to happen. It was teased when he died in a post credit scene where Apocalypse goes to the ruins on Genosha and finds his card. He goes there back to Athens with his machine that he used to turn Archangel and others into horsemen, and turn up the power. This is kind of funny. He's like, turn up the power. He's like, he's the one using the power. Why you got to tell me? You're the person. You have control. You turn up the power. You're doing it yourself. But anyway, he turns up the
Anybody else
power.
here? Turn up the
Yeah,
damn
but
power yourself.
who are you talking to? So, Gambit is raised from the dead. We get the red eyes, the smile, and then we get like the tarot cards. Now, I went online and saw a bunch of stuff. Essentially, tarot readers are not saying this is a bad hand to be dealt. Like, death is always, I was like, oh, it's a death card, but I guess it depends on the order where you get the death card. So a death card that's first is a signal of rebirth. And then the tower, like I can't remember. None of these were bad, basically. Like the order that they were given, these are not terrible things for him to happen.
So, whereas I have filled in the blanks on many obscure knowledge and understand these things,
yeah, the tarots ain't
you are
it.
off of my grid right now.
Yeah, the tarots ain't it. Yeah, I was completely lost too, and I was just like, because you see enough media be like, oh, a death card can't be good. But I get allegedly, if that's your first card, it's a signal of rebirth, not death. So he has been reborn. So, okay, so that's necessarily good. We're obviously leading up to some sort of battle here with the X-Men and Apocalypse, probably on Genosha. That would be my guess. And okay, it's an all right episode. Like it's filler.
Yeah.
Like it was basically moving the story along. If you only have 10 episodes, you got to go through this really fast. I think that's us adjusting to that more than anything. I think next week you said they're in the Savage Land for some particular reason, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so that could get to be fillery too. And I'm assuming we're going to see Kazar. There's no other reason to go there. Or the mutates.
I wonder, are we getting a Magneto resurrection in Savage Land?
Oh, that's the part that I missed, and I know we're running up against the clock. So in Charles's speech, because I think I know what it was setting up to. In Charles's speech to Lorna, he was like, "I wish a small portion of Magneto was still in me," and I'm like, "That's freaking Onslaught." That's Onslaught, and I searched my freaking internet all to be damned to try to find that caption because, again, if you're familiar with the Onslaught story, that really wasn't the original thing. Charles was supposed to have just lost his mind and gone to the dark side, but the powers that be were like, yeah, no, let's just have like a little rat of Magneto's psyche sneak into Charles,
a Buddy
like
Roberts,
that.
if you will.
Yeah, exactly. To sneak in there and cause havoc, which is the reason that he actually goes insane. But that would also mean that maybe Magneto was a pedophile because he was in love with Jean. But whatever, that's a different story for a different time and different podcast. Whatever. But yeah, so they are setting up a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know how and when you can deliver on all these things, but it feels like you have 3 major stories that you could tell and not rush through them in the modern comics: Krakoa, Age of Apocalypse, and Onslaught.
Well, keep in mind they did Inferno in 32 minutes. So
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But I think that's probably the most that you could do based on how weird that story was.
Yeah.
Like I think because of Wolverine and X-Men, like I think people are like, come on, you got to do Age of Apocalypse because you teased it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a much more popular story. Onslaught might be a tough gig, but I think I'm looking forward to it. Like now, like next summer, I got a reason to like,
Mm-hmm.
think that this is going to happen, and no delays or anything like that, and that's good. So I'm I'm happy with this show. I know some of the previews, a lot of the reviews last week were people, even though it was a Wolverine story, people weren't happy with it. I was perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
I was perfectly fine with this episode. It's if nothing else, this show is very consistent. Like you're not gonna get like a 3 or below, 5 below show, and you're not gonna, with the rares for the 9s and 10s. But it's a very consistent show. Again, you got to wonder when this Bo DeMayo drop off is going to happen, because it's going to happen. And you got to see how bad it's going to be. But yeah, I'm good. I have no real issues with this show at
I mean,
all.
it's kind of like the second season of the original run. Like there was a story to open, a story to close, and then just like basically uh discrete issues in between with like
Yeah.
a plot thread. That's kind of where we are. Like you started off to resolve the apocalypse stuff, then we got to have some mid-season let's beef up the world stories, and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll get back to the conclusion. So it's
Yeah.
kind of where we are on this.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to it. I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning anyway, so I'm like, oh, that shit's on. Let me go ahead and get my first watch on. Wife sleeping next to me. Got that on, watching it essentially on mute. And, then I'll download it and I'll go watch it at some other time. And then I'll start prepping for the show. So, all right. That's it, y'all. So, as the X-Men animated music starts to play us out on the podcast side, I'm the producer of this podcast. I'm signing off. Brother Beavis, go ahead and sign off.
See you next time.
We got morning activities, y'all. We'll see y'all on the other side. Peace, everybody.